June 3rd, 2020 commission meeting. It looks like we are going to start by having our invocation given by Hindu leader Rajan Zed, who is on the line, and then after Mr. Zed, then we're going to have Rodney Bennett, our assessor, lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Okay. You can go ahead, Mr. Zed.
Hello.
We can hear you. Go ahead.
Start my prayer.
Yes, please.
Okay. I shall be reading in Sanskrit from ancient Hindu scriptures, some as old as 1500 BCE, and then interpret in English. Om Bhurvah Svah Tat Savitrvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dio Yona Prachodayat. We meditate on the transcendental glory of the Deity Supreme, who is inside the heart of the earth, inside the life of the sky, and inside the soul of the heaven. May He stimulate and illuminate our minds. Astoma Sadgamya, Tamsoma Jyotirgamya, Mrityur Mamratam Gamya. Lead us from the unreal to the real, lead us from darkness to light, lead us from death to immortality. Tasmata Sakta Satam Karyam Karma Samachara Asakto Hai Charan Karma Parmapanoti Purusha Karma Neva Hi Samsiddhi Masita Jankadaya Loka Sangreha Mevapi Sampa Shankar Tumrahasi. Strive constantly to serve the welfare of the world. By devotion to selfless, one attains the supreme goal of life. Do your work with the welfare of others always in mind. Om Saha Navavatu, Saha Navanatu, Saha Viryan Karva Bahai, Tejasvi Navaditamastu, Ma Viddisa Bahai. May we be protected together, may we be nourished together, may we work together with great vigor, may our study be enlightening, may no obstacle arise between us. Samniva Akuti, Samna Hirdhyaniva, Samnamastu O Mano, Yathava Susa Hasti. United your resolve, united your hearts, may your spirits be at one, that you may long together dwell in unity and concord. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace, peace, peace be unto all. Om. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Zed. Okay. Mr.
I
Bennett?
appreciate having me. Thank you.
Please stand and follow me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Okay, looks like we need to, you guys get a chance to look over the minutes.
I did.
May
I'd
20th.
make a motion that we approve the minutes from our May 20th, 2020 meeting.
I'll second that motion.
I have a motion by Commissioner Scott, second by Commissioner Summers. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. We all have some information here that we're going to share. Before we do that, I'd just like to make a mention. We've, many of us, and I don't know if some of you others may know, but we've had him here before visiting with us. Nathan Jackson used to be Senator Hatch's liaison assistant here in the state, and now he's working for Senator Lee's office. And just a little over a week ago, he lost his 3-year-old boy. He drowned in a pool accident in St. George. Very sad situation. That's their only son. And anyway, our thoughts and prayers are with Nathan. He's been a big assist in helping us with whatever we need when he was with Senator Hatch. and with Senator Lee, and we really appreciate him. We just wanted to mention that and let you be aware of his situation. We have a couple of things that I'd like to, I guess, share with you. We'll start off with Commissioner Scott. He's got a thank you letter from the arts group that did the sidewalk chalk, so.
Yeah, dear Box Elder County Commissioners, thank you for working with the Fine Arts Center and the Northern Utah Chalk Art community. You were awesome, and we can't thank you enough for hearing out our ideas and letting us host a Memorial Weekend Chalk Art Contest and drive-through show in the courthouse parking lot. The event turned out to be a perfect get outside and celebrate event for the community in these trying times. We know we had over 250 people come through on Saturday from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m., and from the small amount of time we were able to check back Sunday and Monday, would estimate that at least 500 to 600 people got out to enjoy it. It was also well enjoyed by many more people through Facebook posts. Mm-hmm. It meant a lot to the 14 chalk art individuals, family teams who came out to participate too. Here's to your appreciation of art as a way to help, inspire, and empower people. Gratefully yours, Susan Neidert, Fine Arts Center Director. And you can still see them out there. They weather pretty well.
Some pretty good artists.
Did well.
It was amazing. I'd seen them all on Facebook. It was really cool how they get together, some of the 3D stuff they do. It's just pretty talented for something that's only going to last for a couple of weeks.
Yep. Oh, that's great. Thanks for sharing that with us. Commissioner Summers, you've got...
Mine's on the agenda. Do you want me to wait till the agenda?
Oh, I guess, yeah, we can do that. Well,
It's up to you.
I'll hold
You're
on
in
to that
charge.
then.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll touch on that when we get to it on the agenda then.
Okay.
I just wanted to read here really quickly a thank you letter that was sent out from Mayor Mendenhall from Salt Lake City. It says, Dear County Commissioners Scott, Summers, and Hatfield, and Sheriff Potter, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for the service of your police officers to Salt Lake City this weekend. They have the most difficult and important job, and I salute them for standing alongside the Salt Lake City Police Department during the weekend's events. It is an incredibly difficult time to be a police officer. I have heard the insults hurled at them and seen violence directed at them while they strive to serve and protect, and it breaks my heart. I was overwhelmed watching their calm and professionalism when faced with the most trying circumstances on Saturday afternoon throughout the night. Their collective work ensured that the difficult situation was resolved with integrity. Know that while I support the right of people to peacefully protest, I wholeheartedly support our police officers. I believe in transparency and policy and policing, equitable enforcement of the laws, and justice for all. I'm confident that transparency is nothing to fear and functions to support the actions of the police officers in the dangerous circumstances they face every day. I'm confident that you all share these values too, and that it is through these values that we will grow stronger as a community. Thank you again for your outstanding assistance and support of our city and our department this weekend. I'm grateful to each of you and every one of your officers, and I know that Chief Brown and the entire Salt Lake City Police Department are here to return the service to your jurisdiction if ever needed, and stand with them ready and willing to assist. Yours, Aaron Mendenhall. Just wanted to read that and thank Chief Deputy Ward and the department for the service and the ones that went down there, and they're a good example in representing Box Elder County. So, thank you.
I was just going to echo that for the plain fact that I was on the White House call today, and Homeland Security just wanted to make sure that everyone on that call went throughout the nation realized how important our law enforcement is. They said they're up to 300 injuries now for law enforcement and 2 deaths. So it's pretty humbling to think that we would have people that would go down, on their spare time and their days off and go help other individuals when they know that these things are happening. 20 of them, or 20 to 25 of the people that were injured were in Salt Lake. So I was just going to reach out with you and tell you that that's what the Homeland Security said today on that phone call, and how much they appreciated our local elected officials and the officers that keep the peace. So thank you.
Okay, do you guys have anything else? Any other former agenda items or anything? Okay, all right, then we'll move on to the request to access the
Let's-
fairgrounds.
Do we want to do an update on the COVID situation?
Oh, yeah, let's do that, thanks.
We've got fire issues on there.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Tiff left.
Okay. If you've been following it at all, the Bear River Health Department reports along with the rest of the state each day. It typically comes in around 12 o'clock or 1. Cache had 79 cases on May 26th. They're now at 310. And so it's been a pretty dramatic increase in the last 8 days. If you go out there, they are doing something different. They are now reporting the number of cases, not just by county and not just by age, but they're also reporting them by race or ethnicity. The biggest reason for that is a couple of the major spikes that they've seen over there have been in a couple of smaller ethnic groups that make up a relatively low percentage of the Cache County population, but the spikes have been huge. It's a disproportionate amount. And so what they found is a number of these folks, they work together, they live together, they play together, maybe not the best social distancing, and so it spread like wildfire. And so the health department is really trying to do some outreach to try to limit that. In the same time, we went from 26 to 31 cases. And so here in Box Elder County, we're really still doing well. The social distancing's worked. We haven't had the uptick. There's no issues with the hospitalizations. And so we're hoping that we can get back to some semblance of normal soon, and we're moving in the right direction.
So did they say they were gonna go to smart green? Is that what I seen the other day?
I saw something come out from like an emergency communications committee.
It said from KSL, Utah Commission votes to recommend
Yeah.
that most of the state moves to a new smart green risk phase.
Yeah. And I'm not sure exactly what that means, but
So,
hopefully sooner than later.
Okay.
yeah,
I heard Friday.
no, hopefully we'll come up with some more information then.
Okay.
So, thanks for sharing that with us. Keep everybody aware of that, what's going on. On our fire issues, I guess Tiffany was here earlier and said that we've had 8 fires as of yesterday, but then there was 2 today. But luckily, everything's been contained to 5 acres or less, so they've been keeping on top of those things. But unless,
She just went out to Wildcat, because
did she?
they paged her.
Okay.
She said about Wildcat.
Well, hopefully we can pray and get some rain to help us out here. We don't want to have a fire season like we had in 2018, and they're predicting that we might be having one, so.
I was on the phone with Sheriff Potter when that guy lost his tire on I-15 and started the one, sparked
really?
the one off the side of the freeway.
Yeah,
What's the chance of that happening?
yeah. Okay, well,
You got
don't think we have anything
first.
else. And, well, before we get into this with Todd, I'm waiting here to open up, because we've got to open up the public hearing at 5:15
Okay.
for Scott Lyons on that property. So,
Siri just said it's 5:15.
she did?
Uh-huh.
Okay, I'll take her word for it then. Okay, we'll go ahead and begin our public hearing for we'll open it for the county surplus property disposal. And we'll just hold off and get to that, but the public hearing is now open. So we'll go ahead and start with Todd. Is Todd here? Todd Burrow? Does anybody know on the request for the keys to the fairgrounds?
That was from Alice Harris, wasn't it?
I think so.
I read through there. The biggest question I had was probably for both Jen and for Steve. What kind of liability do we have? I know that Brigham City Tremont and Rec has access, but we just need to have some sort of an agreement signed with them if they actually have a key to the facility and
Well,
what the
there is-
usage would be.
Is this the same thing? There was an
It's the
agreement that we
same.
did for evacuation things?
Evacuation.
When I see
yeah.
reunification, I'm not sure what that means.
That's what I,
They want to actually practice. So what they want to do is they want to actually hold a drill where they use the building and the students go over there with the faculty.
So it's a practice evacuation.
And then
What's the
the
reunification thing about, do you know?
parents would come by and actually pick their kids up,
Okay.
so that the parents would know how it works as well.
So we do have an agreement in place. That agreement calls for them to have some keys, or at least a place to have access to the keys. There's a whole agreement that talks about everything right down to the, and so as long as they're following that, I don't see a problem with it. But
So this would be more of a question for Jen, just to make sure there's not another event in the building the day that they want to
Right.
do the
Yeah.
practice.
that's right.
And I would assume that this isn't going to take place until September. I mean, school's not in
Ish.
session.
Wouldn't make sense.
Hopefully, yeah.
It'd be awful easy to do it right now.
Maybe they will just take half a dozen kids. Maybe they'll, I don't know if they'll do the whole thing.
Yeah, so,
Don't know.
Okay.
yeah, I guess if we need to make a motion, I would make a motion that we allow them to do that, subject to building availability.
And the agreement that's in place.
Yeah, and that the agreement is in place for that.
Second,
Okay, and who's going to follow up on that with Jan?
I'll call Jen.
Okay. All right, I have a motion by Commissioner Scott, second by Commissioner Summers. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Looks like we have the certification assurance addendum. You guys got that?
The agreement.
Yeah. I'm just trying to open it up here.
Yeah, it looks like, is this basically, it looks like it has to do with the VOCA grants, and we're just assuring that we're in compliance? I mean, is that all that we're doing?
Yeah, I didn't know about this till this morning because I saw commissioners on there. I didn't pay much attention to it, but it's actually for the Volker grant for our office.
Is it?
They did an audit, and there's a condition that wasn't in there that they decided needed to be in there, so this is just adding that condition. We're assuring them that we'll comply with federal law, basically. And it has to come across has to be approved by the commission in order for it to be.
And you guys are planning on following federal law then, right?
Yeah, we are.
Okay.
That was the shortest contract I've ever seen. I actually
I was
read
just
through
going to
it.
say, when I was like, what?
Really? Federal contract that short.
Wow.
Okay.
I'd entertain a motion.
I'd make a motion that we approve the certified assurance addendum agreement 20-37.
I'll second that.
I have a motion by Commissioner Summers, second by Commissioner Scott. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Then we have the Public Lands Equal Access Alliance for Recreational Trails Program.
You want me to take this one?
Yeah, take that one.
So there's a group of four-wheel enthusiasts that has kind of moved up this way from Ogden. They still live in Ogden, but they have been doing a lot of work out in the Box Elder County area because they seem to like the area a lot. So they're actually putting in different grants and doing different things with signage. And all they need to do is just have our letter of support that they'll continue to do these things. I mean, they're even talking about, doing some bathrooms at the Spiral Jetty, bathrooms at the Devil's Playground, and other things like that. So,
Are these the same ones that are working on connecting the trail with
Uh-huh.
Twilla and all
Twilla.
that? Okay.
mhm. So they've got a sample of the signs that they'll be trying to put up, but they're gonna have all that stuff taken care of. They might put in for some tourism grants and things like that, so. Anyway,
Okay.
seemed to be a great group. So we just need to make a motion that we'll sign the agreement to support. That's all it is.
Okay.
Yeah, and if I remember right from our last discussion, it's simply support. They're not asking for any funding. It just,
Oh, they'd like funding.
That was mine.
well, yeah, yeah,
That was
but-
my
Everybody
understanding.
else.
They just wanted support.
yeah, to go for the grants. Yeah, I would make the motion that we sign a letter of support for the Public Lands Equal Access Alliance for Recreational Trails Program.
I'll second that motion.
I have a motion by Commissioner Scott, second by Commissioner Summers. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And Stanley, I'll turn this one over to you since you already have that.
Oh, yeah. Well, Governor Herbert has been to our parade, but he's never been to the rodeo, so we decided that, to send him off in a good spot with the rodeo, and so we decided we'd give him plenty of leeway to make sure it fits into his schedule. So we just sent a letter that's just said, "Dear Governor Herbert, every year we look forward to the county fair, and this year looks as promising as ever, with more activities, events, entries expected than ever." Might be before COVID, but anyway. Your presence at the fair and rodeo is greatly desired. We wish to extend an invitation for you to ride with us on the VIP wagon during the Box Elder County Rodeo Grand Entry, please join us for any night, Wednesday through Saturday. Southwest corner of the rodeo racetrack. In order to accommodate you, please RSVP to our secretary, Chrissy Bennett, in advance. We hope you're as excited about the fair and rodeo as we are. Thank you for your service. Please feel free to contact us if you have any questions. So, and they did email us back, said they received it. So hopefully
Okay.
we'll just continue on.
Hopefully you can work it out with the schedule.
Yep.
And we're proceeding as planned with the fair unless we have other issues pop up, so. Okay. Great, thanks. Okay, we'll move on here to our public hearing action item that we'll let Scott Lyons come up and speak to that first before we open it up for comment.
All right, so this public hearing is for disposal of surplus real property. Brigham City came before the county commission several months back, interested in purchasing 17 feet on the north side of two county properties that are on Forest Street down west of the railroad tracks. They were directed to go through the surplus property disposal policy, so they've been working with me on that. And they have gone through the process. They've gone to the Planning Commission. The Planning Commission forwarded a recommendation of approval to the County Commission based on the fact that the proposed property doesn't there's no conflict with the general plan. There's no conflict with the county's transportation plan, and those are the two items that they're to review with regard to the disposal of real property. With that being said, the next item in the county's policy regarding the disposal of surplus real property is that a public hearing is held and that the property be talks about highest and best economic return. So the highest and best economic return to the county shall be estimated by one or more of the following methods. So the method used by Brigham City is a professional valuation service. These are smaller pieces of land. So the first piece amounts to $2,300, and it is 0.035 acres. And the second piece amounts to $4,000, and it's 0.061 acres. So the consultant that they hired to give them the compensation estimate was Davenport Consulting, a right-of-way agent and real estate broker. She used basically her standard valuation methods in addition with appraisals that Brigham City had gotten on other larger pieces of property. So those were the prices that came back for those two things, and at this point what's left is to hold the public hearing and then take action.
Can I ask a question now? How come this wasn't involved with the corridor preservation?
It is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's what I was just wondering.
Yeah, this is just part of the acquisition
Okay.
process.
That's what I was
And
wondering.
we've already discussed this and ran this past you, right, Steve, as long as we followed the proper procedures of disposing of
I've worked
property?
with Scott on it. I looked at the evaluations, and looks fine.
Okay. All right, with that, we'll open it up for anybody that would like to speak to this particular matter on disposing of this surplus property. Okay, seeing none, then I'd entertain a motion.
I'd make a motion that we close the public hearing.
Second?
I have a motion by Commissioner Scott, second by Commissioner Summers. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Okay.
So-
Yeah, I guess if there are any other questions, I'm happy to answer those. Otherwise, we do have the quitclaim deeds ready for you to sign, and once Brigham City transfers that money over to Mr. Cotter, then those quitclaim deeds can be recorded.
Okay.
You just woke up in the back when you heard his name?
And that was, the amount that they're talking about was, what it came in at on the appraisal was around 4 and then 2,300.
2,300 for one parcel
Okay.
and 4,000 for the other parcel.
All right.
All right. So we don't need any more action on that at this time then?
Are you ready to sell it?
I'm not the one selling it.
Well, I know, we're ready to sell it.
Yeah, it just needs a motion for you to move
Okay.
forward with it, so.
Yeah. I'll make a motion, we move forward with the surplus property disposal.
I'll second that.
I have a motion by Commissioner Summers, second by Commissioner Scott. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right.
Is there anything you'd like us to put back on that so they know if anybody wants to go back? On what date the first meeting was, or doesn't matter?
I don't think so, but if you have a parcel number for the two.
I do.
Okay, that's what I was wondering. So 50 years from now, they'll come back and wonder.
So the one for $2,300 is part of tax ID number 03-105-0032. And the parcel for the $4,000 compensation is part of tax ID number 03-105-0010.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks for clarifying that. All right. We'll go ahead and move on to ordinance 514.
All right, 514 is, this is a text amendment to the Box Elder County Land Use Management and Development Code, Section 2-2-100, Conditional Use Permit. So we spent some time working on this. Basically, our land use code, you know, it's constantly going out of date every legislative session. So what this does is brings our conditional use permit section. That's one section that the legislature has continued to modify. I think there have been a lot of injustices felt by landowners, and so it's been the state code has been modified in favor of, I shouldn't say in favor of landowners. It's been modified so that the local jurisdictions to remove gray area, make it much more black and white. So it's understandable by landowners and can't be applied in a just gray interpretation by the local jurisdiction. So with that being said, this text amendment basically brings our conditional use permit section of code up to date with all the
Current legislation.
current legislative requirements over the last couple of years, so.
Until the next year, right?
Can we just leave a dot on the side of it?
Be nice.
Okay.
Anyway, this has been through the planning commission as well. A public hearing was held at that level, and the planning commission has forwarded a recommendation of approval.
And Exhibit B is basically all the changes, and Exhibit A is existing.
No, Exhibit A is, Exhibit B shows all the changes.
And Exhibit A is the changed.
Yep,
Okay.
is what will be put in the
Yeah.
code without all the colors.
Yeah, I said that backwards. Okay. Yeah, it was pretty substantial when you go through and look at that line by line, so. Okay. Very good. I would make a motion that we approve ordinance number 514, text amendment to section 2-2-100, conditional use permit.
I'll second that motion.
I have a motion by Commissioner Scott, second by Commissioner Summers. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Okay, our next item is ordinance number 515. This is a request by a landowner for a zoning map amendment. They are proposing to rezone 34.35 acres located at approximately 1675 South Willard Peak Road. So this is up in Manaway, just outside Manaway city limits. The property is currently zoned MU 160, which is a multiple use 160 acre zone. And they are requesting that the RR5, Rural Residential 5 acre zone, be applied to this property. So this is the visual that I gave you earlier. There is some adjacent property that is basically on two sides, it's zoned RR5 already. And then on two sides, is the MU 160. So this went before the Planning Commission. A public hearing was held, and there was some discussion. The Planning Commission at the time ultimately tabled the item. They wanted to do a site visit, so they went up and visited the site, took a look at it. One of the biggest concerns at the public hearing was whether the land was actually developable due to steep slopes. The applicant's surveyor submitted the kind of proposed layout or conceptual layout, so they're not bound to that layout by any means, but it's just showing that it is possible to develop the property, that lots are feasible there. So the Planning Commission went, they visited the site, they saw what they needed to see. At their next meeting, they came back and they forwarded a recommendation of approval to the County Commission, and so now it comes before you with that recommendation.
So is this technically 5 parcels? So you have the building lots, and then is this actually a parcel that's been set aside for the Manaway tank as well?
Correct.
Okay, but that again is conceptual, that could change.
Yeah, so they actually initially had the tank on the north side of the hill, and they realized that there were some problems with the geology there, and so now they're looking at putting the tank on the south. They've done some studies, and it looks like the tank makes more sense on the south side of that hill.
Okay,
So that's most likely where it'll go. And that the acreage for the tank parcel is not required to meet the 5-acre minimum because it's a public utility, and public utility subdivisions are exempt from
Yep.
zoning requirements.
Okay.
cool. Okay,
All right.
I like this better than the first proposal.
I'll make a motion, we approve the ordinance 515 MU 162 RR5 rezone.
I'll second that.
I have a motion by Commissioner Summers, second by Commissioner Scott. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thanks, Scott.
Yep.
Okay, our final item is ordinance 516. This is a agricultural subdivision separating a single-family dwelling from an agricultural parcel. This is located at 16421 North, 5200 West, which is Highway 13 in unincorporated Box Elder County. So in this, basically with this, they're just splitting off. There's a home that sits on what they're proposing is 1.634 acres. And that would leave the agricultural parcel with 18.276 acres. This has been also reviewed by the Planning Commission as well as applicable staff. It's been through the Recorder's Office to ensure the legal descriptions are correct and everything, and comes with a recommendation of approval.
Any questions, you guys?
Nope.
Nope.
Okay. Entertain a motion then.
I'd make a motion that we approve the Nishiguchi agricultural subdivision, ordinance number 516.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Scott, second by Commissioner Summers. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Scott.
Thanks, Scott.
Thank you, Planning Commission, too. I
Yeah.
don't think people realize the work that they go through, especially when they make those site visits on their own time to get some additional info, so.
Marla, how much time do we need to give you to move into our RDA?
That's-
Just a minute.
Shaking your head's not an answer.
Is that like a thumbs up?
Does Jenicus leave you any? Oh,
We'll go ahead and take a recess from our normal meeting and move into our RDA meeting. So. You're good? Okay.
is it up on the board or is that?
No, I don't know. I don't think it's on the board, but we've got the May 6th, 2020 minutes. Did you guys get a chance to look those over?
Yeah. I'll make a motion, we approve the May 6th, right? 2020 minutes in the RDA.
I'll second that.
I have a motion by Commissioner Summers, second by Commissioner Scott. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Mitch, you want to just tell us briefly on these two agreements, what we're looking at here?
Sure. Okay, so we have RDA 2015 and 2016 are the two. RDA 2015 is the third amendment to the license agreement between Box Elder RDA and the Standard Wellness Utah LLC. This is that property in Corinne, the 17 acres that we're selling to Standard Wellness. The license agreement extends the closing to November 30th, and it also increases their license per month to $2,500 a month during that time while they're using the property. And then the fourth amendment is actually the fourth amendment to the real estate purchase contract. Okay, that's been changed, which is the same thing. It's extending it to November 30th being the closing deadline. So they're doing this because of they're telling me it's because of COVID-related things and investors, so.
Yeah, and we tried to make sure, just to clarify, that we wanted to make sure that they completed this before the end of the year so that we could close out that area, project area.
It's the
So
hope.
that's the plan. We can extend it if we need to, but we really don't want to do that. That's kind of what we told them and gave them the impression that we needed to get this done before the end of the year. So do you guys have any questions?
Nope, I don't think so. Just the plain fact that it's good to work with them if we can, so.
Yep. Okay, I'd entertain a motion then. Yeah,
I make a motion that we approve the third amendment to the license agreement RDA 20-15 between the county and Standard Wellness.
Second?
I have a motion by Commissioner Scott, second by Commissioner Summers. All in favor? Aye.
Guess that should be county RDA, right?
You want to do the next one since I'm signing?
Yeah. I would make a motion that we approve the fourth amendment as well to the real estate contract RDA 20-16 between Box Elder County Redevelopment Agency and Standard Wellness.
Second?
I have a motion by Commissioner Scott, second by Commissioner Summers. All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks.
Okay, thanks, Mitch.
Thanks, Mitch.
I'd entertain a motion to close out our meeting.
I'd make a motion that we close the
Well, you're
RDA.
working him hard.
Second?
I have a motion by Commissioner Scott, second by Commissioner Summers. All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks, you guys. Okay, and it looks like,
I'll make a motion, we go into a closed session
yep,
to discuss
Imminent litigation.
imminent litigation? Not sure I've ever said that.
okay.
I'll second that.
I have a motion by Commissioner Summers, second by Commissioner Scott. All in favor?
Aye.
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 That's like